Hi, you guys. I just wanted to start out by saying that it is an honor to stand before you today, and I want to thank Pastor Ray and Beth. If you were in the sanctuary right now, I would ask you to raise both hands up in the air. If you know that surrender is your greatest superpower as a mom. I learned this early on, like as soon as my first child, Chloe, was born, and I was in the hospital, and I was holding her in my arms, and I looked down, and I realized, like, this thing's way bigger than me. This is scary. I don't know if you were scared, but I was scared to death to have kids. And I think I've always known the power of parenting. You know, it's a big, holy deal. And so both hands up in the air. This is the secret. This is the superpower to being a great mom, is to continually know that we get to cast all of our cares, that we get to dedicate these babies over and over and over. We didn't just do it once, but we dedicated them again. We dedicated them when they were in the womb, probably, and then when they were born, and then when they were toddlers, and then when they were children and adolescents and teen and young adult. You know, I don't know where your kids are at right now, but I continue to dedicate my kids to the Lord. And as I've done it over the years, my kids are now 23, 22, and 18. All three of them are graduates. Right now, two of them graduating from college, and one is graduating from high school. And I can tell you that this whole journey has been about surrendering to the perfect plan and purpose, the will of God for their lives. And as I dedicated them to the Lord, I finally realized that it was myself that I was dedicating to the Lord again and again, that I would be a steward of their hearts, that I would understand the privilege and the honor of nurturing a life from embryo to fetus, to baby, to toddler, to child, to adolescent, to teen, to young adult, and off to start a life. And this is where two of my kids are right now. They are getting ready to launch into adulting, and it's crazy. It's just crazy, but it's really cool that I get to talk to you right now, because I've got to see, especially because of this quarantine time, we've had our whole family together again, and it's been an absolute joy to get to know my kids as young adults. They've been away at college for 4 years, 5 years, one of them, and to be able to have dinner together and to have deep conversations and to play canasta, a whole bunch of canasta. And really for them to get to know one another, and for us to see who they have become. And it's just been beautiful. So what I was led to talk about was the power of a mission, a parenting mission, and a God-given mandate. And that's what I have to bring to the table today. God asked, through a man, I should say, we were asked, Hugo and I were asked, what are your educational goals for your children? This was before kindergarten. And it's something that we hadn't thought much of at all. And so, you know, our first response was like college. You know, college is familiar. We both went to college. And so, yeah, we kind of want them to go to college and graduate from college and have a degree. And then I thought, you know, I really want them to be lifelong learners. I want them to have the ability and the desire to learn and to continue to grow throughout their life. And so that's how we answered the question. And I never forgot the question. I continued to ponder the question. I was living in this question, like, what do I really want for my kids? And it wasn't long before I realized that what I really, really want is for them to be happy and healthy, you know, the obvious things. I wanted them to know the joy of authentic service, to be contributing members of society. And so I'm pondering all of these things before my firstborn was even in kindergarten. And I want to tell you that taking the time, I want to exhort you to take the time, if you haven't done it yet, to think about that. Like, where do I want my kids to end up? I don't know where you're at right now, but like when they're 20, when they're 15, when they're 20, when they're 25, what do you see for them? Because you're casting all of that right now. And that vision needs to be written down. Your parenting vision needs to be written down now, if it hasn't already. And you want to read it. so that you can run with it. And it needs to be written down with clarity, because knowledge isn't the power. Clarity is the power. So when we get clarity on these things, it gives us this ability to run with endurance. So no matter what I was dealing with, no matter what issue came up throughout the years, I could go back to the mission. Like, where are we going in all of this? Is this decision to go in this direction going to lead us to that ultimate goal that I have for my kids? And so I realized that their happiness wasn't going to be in the hands of somebody else. Their health wasn't going to be in the hands of somebody else. Their ability to serve at a high and authentic level wasn't going to be in the hands of somebody else. I wanted to give them the abilities to be able to own their life and their happiness and their health and their contributions. And so knowing that just brought so much clarity along the way. So I said to God one day, what? This was when they were babies. I mean, before anybody was in kindergarten. I remember crying out to the Lord, like, now what? I was exhausted. It's exhausting. I had 3 under 5, and it was exhausting. And I just remember crying out to God, like, now what? Now what? And he said to me, walk within your heart, walk within your house with a perfect heart. He would always take me back to the Psalms. And so I'm like, okay. I was always hoping for another word, like, walk within my house with a perfect heart, like, okay. And I would just rest in that. I would surrender to that. I would just stop and just believe that I heard from God and that was my solution in the moment. And I would just receive it. And then he took me to Psalm 51:6, and he said, I desire truth in the inward parts. And he connected those two things. Walk within your house with a perfect heart, with a mature heart, with a cultivated heart, with a soft heart, with a heart that feels, with a heart that desires my perfect will for you and your family. Walk within your house with a perfect heart, because our house is the hardest place sometimes to walk with a perfect heart, right? You can get outside of your house and be so beautiful to other people, and then something happens when you're within your house. And he began to show me how powerful it is for me to become the thermostat in my house and not the thermometer. That my own happiness and my own life, I needed to own that before I could give my kids the gift of owning their life and happiness and their health and their contributions. And so there began the journey that I had to walk this thing out. I had to be the real deal. I had to walk the talk. And so that's where it started, with my own heart and my own willingness to dedicate my life to the Lord and to devote my days to the Lord. And then he led me to homeschooling. I never in a million years thought that I would be homeschooling. So here we are, homeschooling 3 kids and hearing again and again, walk within your house with a perfect heart. I desire truth in the inward parts, because it is truth that's going to free you to be able to serve and love your children into these places that I've destined for them. And he revealed to me in that mission. So what is your mission? What are your educational goals for your kids? Where would you like them to end up? And secondly, he dropped into my heart one day when I cried out, how, God? The how is holy. So I never figured out how to do the things that God was leading me to do. I just looked to him for the how. And I trusted that my steps were ordered and that my path would be illuminated as I took a step. So I stepped into it and it lit up. And I stepped in and it lit up. So the light didn't come until I was willing to step. And I said, how? What's my next move? How am I supposed to do this? I have no idea. I have 3 kids, and their education is on my shoulders now. And I just felt this weightiness, of homeschooling and of nurturing 3 lives, all the way from here, from this embryonic state, all the way into adulthood. Like, it's just huge. And sometimes that weight would really, I would get under it. And one day he gave me a 3-fold mandate, just 3 clear steps. It was so clear. He said, shepherd their heart. Shepherd their heart. Because I would be thinking, how am I going to teach them all of these subjects? I'm trying to be their teacher, and I don't know all this stuff. I was a PE teacher and a fitness instructor, and my specialty is in exercise science and kinesiology and movement. And I'm trying to teach math and history and all of these things that I'm not really that great at. And God said, shepherd their heart. I called you to shepherd their heart, care for their heart. And then he said, see them and celebrate them. Shepherd their heart, see them, and celebrate them. And as you do those three things, they will know who they are, what I've given them, and why they're here. And in those three answers, they're going to live a rich, fulfilling, abundant life. And they're going to make a dent in the universe that's going to blow your mind. And so I said, okay, that's what I'll do. I'll shepherd their hearts, I'll see them, and I'll celebrate them. And so as we were eating dinner the other night, knowing that I was going to get to talk to you guys, I asked my kids, like, what do you remember most? What sticks out to you? 23, 22, and 18 years old. And each one of them said they feel known, they feel seen, and they feel celebrated. But they said it in their own special way. Marco said, I feel respected and trusted. He's 18 years old. And Chloe said, I felt like you knew, you were listening to the Lord regarding each one of us because each of us had such a different path. Marco ended up in public school. Cammie ended up in charter school. Chloe ended up homeschooling the whole way through. And Cammie said, you met me wherever I was at. When I made my bed in hell, you were there with me. And when I was praising God and when I was at the height, you were with me. And I just thought that was so beautiful because ultimately, they were all seen, they were all celebrated, and they all felt known. And I looked to Jesus, how he came into our world to know us so that we could be known. And I thought about the Old Testament when God said, come, let us reason together. And all of my kids said, you were always so rational. You were never unreasonable. You always wanted to hear us. You wanted to see us. You wanted to feel us. Come, let us reason together. Let me go into your world. And that's what I always want to share with parents. Go into their world. They want to be seen. They want to be known. They want to be heard. And we can give them their voice in the world. We can make them feel known and important and useful. And so today I stand before you and just remind you of the importance of a mission, a parenting mission, a God-given mission. Know where you're going. What do you want for your kids? And secondly, shepherd their heart, see them, and celebrate them. In that, they will know who they are, they will know what God's entrusted to them, and they will know why they're here. That's all I got for you guys. I love you. Thanks for the opportunity to share. Peace out.